Hi everybody. Try and keep this as cheerful and upbeat as we can. I know barreling into lunch here. Hi to everybody that I've met already, which is probably almost all of you bar five. If you're one of the five, I'm looking forward to meeting with you before you go away. Please say hi. So I just wanted to give you a bit of an overview of some of the work that we're doing on our strategic plan and some of the research that we do. Obviously, the research is one of the things that Energy Consumers Australia is most well known for. And this year we've made some changes to how we do our research. So we have now a new, larger survey of 4,000 consumers, which is conducted for us by SEC Newgate, called the Consumer Energy Report Card. And as part of that survey, by the way, we've also done a boosted number of First Nations and called consumers so we can get a proper picture of what's going on there for those groups of consumers. I think that's really important to call out. So the Consumer Energy Report Card gives the most comprehensive current state for energy consumer sentiment, needs and intentions in Australia, apparently. Off the back of this survey, we now produce a series of analysis reports, deep diving into the data to find the consumer narrative. And we use the Consumer Energy Report Card data as an evidence base for change. It sits at the heart of our advocacy for consumers. So I'm going to give you, I've got 4 minutes now, I'm going to give you a very quick overview of some of the stories that come out of that data. So one of the biggest surprises this time round, which we've highlighted in our latest analysis report, is that nationally 1 in 3 homeowners, and that's an important distinction, homeowners are thinking about getting off gas in the next 10 years. And in the ACT, that's 2 in 3. So as we highlighted in our Stepping Up report in 2023, there are major cost benefits for consumers who can go all electric. But many consumers face barriers, especially those on low incomes, renters and apartment dwellers. And we'll continue to advocate for them to pay a fair and affordable price for gas as long as they use it. Evidence from our friends at the ACCC shows that most consumers still aren't getting the best deals on their energy bills. We're working with governments on a package of consumer reforms at the moment. But ultimately, we also think there needs to be, as you've heard earlier, an overarching market obligation, perhaps something like a duty of care, to ensure that energy products and services are fair and affordable for everybody. We'll also continue to advocate for a least cost energy transition for consumers, because it shouldn't be all on consumers to change their behaviours to fit the system. Interestingly, on that last stat on the slide, you'll see, when we asked consumers about the impact they thought the energy transition would have on bills in the longer term, they were a lot more positive. Only 28% of consumers thought that the transition would make their bills higher in the long term. So, however, what they didn't know is what the energy transition would mean for them personally, and that's because just 26% think they've received clear communication from governments and other parties about what the transition means for their household. So as we've said about 1 million times in the course of this event, our research continues to show that consumers need the right information at the right format at the right time from sources they trust. We believe Australians need one-stop shops for consumer information to support them through the energy transition, and that includes small businesses who, as our energy information research from last year showed, have different needs for information and different pathways to receiving that information. A lot of consumers would rather not have to think about energy nearly as much as the people in this room. But one of the things that we are seeing is that now almost half of consumers are interested in a more active relationship with the energy system, in adopting new technologies, in taking more control over their energy use and prices, at least in theory. So the interest, the intention and the opportunity for some consumers is there to make changes and to benefit from the energy transition. But what we're seeing is that there are a growing number of consumers who don't necessarily have the ability to take that action, including those who can't switch suppliers, because 11% of them are in a situation where their retailer and plan is chosen for them by their strata or residential management company. And again, particularly that's apartment dwellers and small business, as Andrew Nance was talking about yesterday. With the increase in higher density living and without interventions, this is something that we're going to see continue to increase as an issue. We know that the last few years has been really tough for a lot of consumers. We can see this coming through loud and clear from our research. Energy bills are causing real pain for people. 40% of those that we surveyed in the last survey said that they had difficulty affording their energy bills in the last 6 months. Often these people are the same people who are living in energy-efficient homes. And if we go back to that last slide, you can see still 8 in 10 Australian homes have an energy efficiency rating of 2 or less. That's basically the equivalent of a tent. I wanted to share with you this final slide. I think this one's pretty stark, and this goes back to something that Shalanda said in the beginning, Shalanda Baker, which she called the energy burden. We're calling it the energy divide, but it's the same story, despite whether you're in America or in Australia. What we're seeing is a situation, you can see on the left, these are the consumers who are on time of use tariffs. And what the chart shows are the people who are shifting their loads. So they're shifting when they use their appliances, their heating and cooling. We've split it by income. And on the right, you can see a chart that I'm sure some of you are familiar with from previous Foresighting Forums. I know Lynn had a similar chart. We've taken consumer income and the percentage of that income that's spent on energy bills, and we've put it against how much those energy bills are. So you can see on the left, what we're seeing is a situation where those on the lowest incomes are being incentivised to go without. They're load switching to save money because they're paying a higher percentage of their income on energy. And what we're seeing is that those with the most means and ability aren't yet taking the actions that the market assumes that they will. We need to work on this together, as it's a wicked problem that the sector needs to work on together to solve if we're going to see a fair energy transition that doesn't turbocharge those existing inequalities.